And all right, so we can go. So tomorrow's the big game, the Super Bowl. San Fran versus the Chiefs. It's been a while. I'm glad that we're finally here. I was waiting for this, having that extra week off for the Pro Bowl and everything. And then so now we're here,
Hmm.
Super Bowl Sunday. I'm not sure if this is gonna be a great game like a lot of people are anticipating. So I want to ask you this question. Do you think that the Niners can afford to start off the way they did in the previous two games during this postseason and realistically have a chance to beat this Chiefs team?
Nah, the thing is like they've been fortunate. Those two matchups they had, they've been fortunate. They went against two young teams. Granted, Jared Goff is not a young quarterback, obviously, and there's couple more veterans on Detroit than there is on Green Bay. But you're talking about two young teams and two coaches that kind of Matt LaFleur playoffs versus Kyle Shanahan, his boy. He can't really get over the hump with him. And then Dan Campbell can't get out of his own way because he wants to bite kneecaps too much, and he can't. You know what I'm saying? He can't. He wants to be super aggressive, which that's okay. That's who you are. You have to be aggressive. That's you live and die by that sword. Like it is what it is. But they were fortunate they went against those type of teams. Like that was probably an easier path than the Chiefs had, and the Chiefs they're just too well coached. They have this is their fourth Super Bowl. They probably went into the Super Bowl weekend like, whatever. We did this before. I mean, San Francisco was there 4 years ago, but the difference here is that most of the guys that were on that San Francisco team are not there. We have probably a few of them like Fred Warner. Um, I'm trying to think. Fred Warner, the fullback Kittle, and Debo Samuels, and everybody else besides Kadarius Ward, who was actually on the other side of the field with Kansas City at the time. Everybody else is new to the experience. Trent Williams as well. Probably a couple other
Boza.
extra dudes. Oh, Nick Bosa, but I think Nick Bosa was a rookie that year, so he's probably a little bit more, you know, prepared for this. But the Chiefs are way more prepared. Like their coach is more prepared. You know what I'm saying? Not to say this is not Kyle Shannon's first rodeo, but he's been out coached two different times in the Super Bowl to great coaches, Andy Reid and Bill Belichick. So they can't afford. They can't afford it. They can't get it. They can't fall in the whole trap of the psyche of knowing that you're going against Patrick Mahomes and his greatness. Stick to your game plan. Don't do what Baltimore did, because if you do what Baltimore did and get away from the run game and give it all to Purdy to take care of the, don't be like Seattle Seahawks giving the ball to the quarterback at the 1 yard line to throw the ball in so you can win the MVP. Ride the wave of who brought you there, and that was the offensive play of the year, Christian McCaffrey. If they know better, feed that man. It's the last game of the season. Let him run till his all his leg is left. Both legs are left on the field.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're gonna really have to establish the run game early to win. And I mean, I would think Kyle Shanahan would try to make that a priority. Speaking of McCaffrey, in the NFC Championship game had about 90 yards and 4 yards, 4.5 yards per carry with two touchdowns. And San Fran are 12-1 when McCaffrey rushes for 70 plus 5 yards this year. So that got to be a point of emphasis. But for me, it's just like when I'm questioning the team's run defense this late into the season, when I saw Aaron Jones, your guy, and then Gibbs and Montgomery run all over San Fran's defense, what makes me think that Pacheco can't do the same thing? Have a big game on the
Yeah,
ground. It's going to open up the pass
and you
game
could,
and open up
yeah,
that Kelsey Mahomes connection. So I'm just like,
and that's not
no,
not now not only him. They're gonna get McKinnon back, who hasn't been there. That McKinnon's like their third down. Maybe he's not really a third down. He's like the gadget guy. He can mix it up a little bit. Um, Clyde Edwards-Helaire can still get a few positive yards. We saw Pacheco help them win the Super Bowl against the Eagles, and he was like, I think every extremity in his body was in the injury report, and this is the healthiest he's been. So they can't afford the 49ers cannot allow what they let the Packers do in Detroit, because it's gonna be a long night. Gonna be a long night.
yeah. I mean, even though this Chiefs team hasn't been on the A game, well, at least that we're accustomed to all year, they're winning primarily because of their defense. I would say more than ever that they have in this in the Pat Mahomes era as it's the best defense he's ever had. But still, you don't want to give a team with that much experience, the advantage early and let them dictate the game. Which is why I'm definitely leaning towards KC to win this game. I could be wrong, but I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not going to bet against Pat Mahomes. I haven't done it really, and I don't think I've really bet against him throughout his career. Maybe once against Brady, but outside of that, I haven't. I can't. Just so reminiscent of what we seen the past do early on in their career, especially this year. Not having a great offense, but having a great defense, but still having a great coach, a great quarterback who's making the right play. That's not necessarily trying to do too much with his arms, but trying to quote unquote manage the game, like we've seen against Buffalo, primarily in the second half. I think that they are just going to try to, keep the ball out of the out of Purdy's hands, and I can see that happening in order for them to win the game and not try to like give them chances to like get a short field and take advantage on that end.
Right. And I mean, here's the thing, like for one, like I agree. It's gonna be hard for me to sit back here and say I'm gonna bet against Patrick Mahomes. I don't feel comfortable with that. Like, and he's been the underdog for 2 consecutive weeks. Probably for the first time in the playoffs in a long time, he's been an underdog, right? You might as well say people were giving Dolphins a chance in that game too, because the spread was 4.5, meaning they spotted you the 3, and they were like, yeah, maybe the Dolphins can make this a game. And on top of that, I think if I'm knowing Patrick Mahomes after watching the quarterbacks Netflix series, he's a psycho. He knows, and he saw that MVP results. He saw that shit. Brock Purdy was, I think, the third. I think Brock Purdy had more first place ballot votes over him. I guarantee you, he's looking at that shit probably be right before bed. I'm like, you trying to tell me this guy's better than me? You know what I'm saying? He had better weapons than me, and I still managed to have a little less than 100 yards less than him total passing yards, or better yet, I had 4 less touchdown passes. But you're calling this guy a better player, and he had better weapons than me? All right, cool. He's a psycho, like Brady. Brady had a chip on his shoulder until he was 45 years old and left the league because he still felt like the guy who got selected in the 6th round. So it's gonna be tough for anybody to bet against him. But there's a huge community out there that's going for the Niners because they're tired of the Kelsey Swift shit. They're tired of seeing the Chiefs in it every year. They're just tired of the whole. Some people find this to be a boring Super Bowl, and I'm like, okay, some of you are the same ones that were watching your team consecutive times going to Super Bowl. But when somebody said the same thing, you're like, oh, you're a hater. You hate it. You hate us. You hate us because you ain't us. All this other shit. But now when the script has flipped and another franchise or quarterback is running it up, now everybody is like, oh, I can't watch this. This is unwatchable. This is, I can't do this. I'd rather see Tom and Giselle. I'd rather see more Patriot Super Bowl. Like, bro, enjoy greatness. Whether the Chiefs win or lose, this is still greatness. This is a dynastic run they're going on. So you have to appreciate it.
Yeah, I was about to say you can just say Patriots fans because I know exactly what you're talking
about. Well, yes, I don't need to. I mean, and there's gonna be people who watch or listen to this, and they're gonna be like, here he goes again, hating. I listen. I lived in this area for a long time. There's no need for me to hate. I rooted for the Pats the first championship, maybe even the second. They had great Super Bowls, but when you have a fan base that just gets like, you're a Lakers fan. There's a lot of people who can't stand the Lakers. They probably have a toilet seat that has the Lakers logo on it because they can't stand the Lakers so much, because they waste their time just being upset with the Lakers because the Lakers keep on winning. They had always the greatest players of all time playing for their franchise. It's that people get tired, they get exhausted, they want to see parity, but when parity comes to the leagues, they can't even enjoy it. Sorry to cross sports, but Denver won the championship last year for the NBA, and nobody was excited. They were like, that was a boring finals. But you're tired of seeing the Lakers. You're tired of seeing the Celtics. You're tired of seeing Golden State. What do you want? What do you really want? These are the same people who say, "Oh, I wanted the Lions to be in there so bad." Like, okay, like these are probably the two best teams that we possibly can get, and they're probably coming close to the end of their own dynasty. So we have to appreciate it.
Exactly, man. I don't understand why people get hate Mahomes and company. Well, I get it. There's some fatigue there, like you mentioned, seeing them going to the Super Bowl, what their fourth trip in 6 years. So there's some fatigue there. And then obviously the whole Travis and Kelsey storyline that's been flooding the news media outlets since what mid-season. So I see that, but at the same time, like you mentioned, like this is a great run. This is like I think we talked about it too in the pod. This is similar to LeBron going to 8 straight conference finals, NBA finals rather. Sorry about that. NBA finals. What Patrick Mahomes and them is doing. So how can you not appreciate that? Because a lot of people I see who are hating on Pat Mahomes are the same ones who pick up LeBron, who say stop hating on LeBron. Now it could be because they feel like Brady's quote unquote potential GOAT status can be potentially threatened. I don't know, whatever. It's early in his career. But at the
It
same
doesn't
time,
matter.
let's appreciate this guy, man, and what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I know people feel like the Patriot dynasty. It was a dynasty, obviously, but they're fearing it's being challenged right now, or Brady's legacy. Brady's legacy is never going to be challenged. Like nobody, I don't think anybody's going to reach 7. For Mahomes to reach 7, he would have to win tomorrow, and they have to make it for the next at least 3 out of the next 5 seasons. They have to make it in there and win 2 out of those 3. So that now we're like sitting here like, okay, now he has 5, and he's just over 30. Right? He's 27, I believe. Whatever. If he's just a smidge over 30 and he got 5, we could start having that conversation, because he's going to play till 40 if he stays healthy. You know what I'm saying? That's a big if. He's had a lot of injuries, and it's only a matter of time he gets hurt. And, God forbid, knock on wood, he gets a major injury hits, because that's happened to every great quarterback we've ever watched, right? But you can't hate on that. Records are meant to be broken. Records are meant to be challenged. I'm pretty certain, when Michael Jordan saw Magic Johnson got 5, he was like, I need to get 6. And now everybody's peak now is 6. And it's always in question no matter how it goes down, right? So it doesn't, like, Jordan's legacy has never been tarnished, right? Brady's legacy is going to never be tarnished as well. They're great, they're good, they're stamped, delivered. They're going to their Hall of Fames. They've been in their Hall of Fames. They're good. So as a fan, if you're a fan of Brady, if you're a fan of the Patriots, you should never feel like there's a threat. You got to appreciate it, because you were there before. You can enjoy greatness. It's fun to enjoy something great. You know what I'm saying? Underdogs are cool. Those stories are definitely cool. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? But it all depends how you want to look at it.
Exactly, man. Um, yeah. Now you talked about you don't think that he'll ever get to 7, and I agree with you. I mean that's hard and kind of like too much to ask and unfair to Pat Mahomes in a sense, right? But let's just say hypothetically he wins the Super Bowl tomorrow. That's 3. I think Nick Wright, Fox Sports Nick's Wright, who's he's a big Chiefs fan, so it's got of course they're always gonna go be pro Chiefs. But I think you mentioned Brady won 3 in 14 years, Chips. Would you bet that
Mm-hmm.
it would take Mahomes additional 10 plus years to get number 4 if he wins? I wouldn't bet that.
No, and that's the thing. What I'm saying, like, it's what the Patriots did is like is un. You can't even do that. That doesn't even make sense, bro.
It
You
doesn't.
went 10 years without one, and then you created a brand new dynasty after that. Like what? Like you don't see that in any sport. You don't see. I mean, I think the Spurs did it. I think they won 2007, and they won one in 2014, right? But
Yeah.
that was like they still had the nucleus, and that's kind of that's the part there. You
And they've
have to
won in the
have a
90s,
certain
99, which is crazy.
exactly. So you have to keep a certain nucleus for it to work. So if Patrick Mahomes can stay healthy, maybe, but it's hard, and that's why I said he has to at least touch 4 or 5 before he turns 35. He might get another 2 before he turns 40. Who knows? But he can't. He can't. I don't see him going. He can't go from 27 to 37 and win his 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's what Brady did. Is it's unmatched. You're not going to see that again. You may not ever see that again because it's for a quarterback his age to accomplish that type of feat. That's insane, bro. So like you said, it's unfair to do that to Pat. I know his bar is Brady, but he's also he's not an egotistical dude. He has that chip in his shoulder because he creates that. He knows he knows his own legacy, but he wants what's best for the Chiefs, and he's always going to do what's best to make sure that team wins. So I don't know, man. Tomorrow, if he wins the third one, it deserves to have a good conversation of where he is. I think he eclipsed a lot of great quarterbacks. You
Yeah,
could call him Aaron Rodgers.
I saw you put that in a tweet. I think you said he'll
Yeah,
pass Manning and Rodgers. Certainly.
Manning, Rodgers, Breeze, Dan Marino, Steve Young, all them dudes. Get him out of here. All of them dudes can just bow down to him at this point because he got the numbers already. If Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame and considered great, and he only has one Super Bowl, and the reason why he got in there is because he has those 2 MVPs. Pat got 2 MVPs. He got 2 Super Bowls already. He got the numbers. If he keeps his career in this track, he's gonna break all those other dudes' numbers. Like he's solidified already, bro. He's already part of greatness, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's already a top 5 quarterback of all time, at least in the modern era.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It sounds like
Absolutely.
you would only have Brady and Montana ahead of him. Sounds like.
At this point, it would only be them. The only reason Montana got that, and it's a shame that Bradshaw doesn't get a lot of love because I think he was also 4-0 in the Super Bowl, maybe 4-1. Somebody like even like Troy Aikman, even though Troy Aikman's numbers are never going to be exciting to people, but he kicked ass in the playoffs. That's all that mattered. The playoffs was Troy Aikman's time. You know what I'm saying? The triplets were killing it in the 90s. But nonetheless, like, yeah, those 2 guys, Joe Montana and Brady, like that's the top of the mountain right there. So he's getting close. He's getting close real fast.
Yeah, man. Do you think Brock Purdy is gonna have a solid or great game? If you were a betting man, would you put money on that he would have a great game or a solid game?
If he has a great game, he had the best. Listen, if he finds a way to have a great game, that means he outplayed Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Tua as well. If that means you outplayed 3 guys that are Pro Bowlers and an MVP, because neither one of those 3, I think, even eclipsed their I don't know if they eclipsed 200 yards passing. I don't know. I'm gonna look back at it, but it's dog. People don't understand. The Chiefs shut that shit down. Lamar had over 272, but he was passing the ball the whole game. You know what I'm saying? And that was bad game planning on their end. But Josh Allen, you know what I'm saying? He had some great throws, but he was only at 186, right? And then you're talking about Tua in that pass offense, even though it was like brick out there, he had 199. So Lamar had the better game, but Lamar probably it looked like the worst game out of all those other 2 because he just it wasn't his game. That's not Lamar's game. So that's what the Chiefs are doing. They're going to allow you to be off and do something outside of what you are. You know what I'm saying? They're going to force you to be outside of who you are. Brock Purdy, if he can do the unthinkable, props to him, and he keeps his job. He's gonna get an extension. He'll be their franchise quarterback. But that's the thing that sucks. If he loses, that's why people don't have to. This is what people have to understand. There's no such thing as a Brock Purdy hate. There's the Brock Purdy concern. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
There's a concern because, for one, your own coach was considering Tom Brady before the season started. Not only because it wasn't because of his performance, more or less because of his injury. Wasn't sure if he was going to come back from that elbow injury. Cool. On top of that, this is the same coach who was on and off with Jimmy Garoppolo, gave up on, what's his name? Trey Lance, gave up on Trey Lance. He believed in Nick Mullins. He believed in CJ Beathard. Like, this is a guy who, you know what I'm saying? Kyle Shanahan is showing people, he's proven to people that I can plug whoever I want and this offense will move. It's not about us as the public sitting here like trying to make up some shit. He's literally telling everybody like, hey, I could plug him in. He loves Kirk Cousins. He was the one who wanted Mac Jones because he believed Mac Jones. He wanted Mac Jones to lead his team because he like, oh, he's the perfect guy for my offense. He never looked at Purdy as his perfect guy. Just so happens Purdy worked well in that scheme so well that he's as good as he is now. So it's a concern. It's not a hate. There's no reason to hate a guy who's Mr. Irrelevant. He already accomplished a lot. Period. That's it. Even if this would be the last time he played quarterback, he did more than most quarterbacks ever did. And there's a lot of quarterbacks that were first rounders that never seen the field. So it's like, listen, if he does the unthinkable, I'll be for one impressed. I already said this year that I was wrong about him. You know what I'm saying? I still have my
your doubts.
My doubts, obviously, because I can see the limitation, but with the limitations comes his tenacity. He's a tough SOB, man. He is one tough SOB. He proved that one thing he did prove to all of us is that maybe he would have been, if he was healthy in that Eagles game, we probably were talking about back-to-back Super Bowl appearances for the 49ers.
That I agree with. Certainly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, like, nobody hates on Brock Purdy. Everybody just because people don't think he's elite, nobody's hating on him. We're just simply pointing out what we see, what we're analyzing. He's a undersized quarterback, doesn't have the strongest arm. So it's easy for like defense to deflect his passes and so forth. Like you said, there are some limitations there. So I would go with, if I was the betting man, I would think that he would have a shake it, a solid game more than we have a great game, just because of what I've seen these past 2 weeks. Yeah, I give credit to him for bringing the Niners back, but at the same time, he's part of the reason that they were behind.
Yeah.
Now you can make the excuse for the weather being bad in San Fran when they play the Packers, but hey, it is what it is. You gotta work through it. You gotta adjust.
Yeah.
Right?
That was the same weather that Jordan Love was playing, and he played a very good game till the last 2 minutes, right? And on top of that, like, you got to think about it. Those two games, he totaled 2 touchdown passes, 1 per game. So it's clearly there's something not clicking enough for him and the receivers. I mean, obviously McCaffrey gets a lot of the love in the red zone, and he had some big plays himself, but he ain't getting the ball into the end zone like that. So it's like, yeah. So I don't know, man. I would be a little shocked that he played up above expectation against that Chiefs defense, because that Chiefs defense is locked the fuck in. They are locked in.
Young, they're opportunistic. I really see him. I don't want to hate him. I'm saying he's gonna have a shaky game, but if he does, not gonna surprise me.
Right. And keep in mind, those 2 Chiefs Super Bowls was mainly because the defense found a way to get that ball back. Remember that Eagles game the Eagles should have won. They could have won.
I think the only difference was the Jalen Hurts the fumble.
The fumble.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of the second half. Mm-hmm. So there goes the game, and guess who's on the other side? Patrick Mahomes. You give him life. And then when they played the Chiefs and the 49ers played the Chiefs, Jimmy missed Emmanuel Sanders. The Chiefs scored after that, and then the Chiefs defense was rolling. They saw blood, bro. Like, you just don't give a shark. You don't just pour blood in the shark tank, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And the shark is motherfucking Pat Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. People got to see it that way, man. It's not really about. There's not a doubt in mind that San Francisco can't win the game. It's the fact that, do you really believe in the fact that Pat Mahomes is going to throw this game away? No, it's hard.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of people who on TV, media members of the media, are pointing out the fact that they say that Pat Mahomes hasn't really played a great Super Bowl from beginning to end, at least. They were down by 10 in the fourth quarter against San Fran in the first one. Decimated O-line, running for his life in second one against the Bucks. Now, last year, people say that Hurts outplayed him. now that is like factually true. At the same time, I think there got to be some context provided to that because they dominated the time of possession, the Eagles, because the Chiefs couldn't get them off the field on third down. But
Mhm.
when Mahomes was locked in the second half, he was damn near flawless. So I hate saying that Hurts outplayed him. I just felt like the Chiefs defense didn't do their job to get the timely start that they needed to secure secure
Right.
the ball for the offense. But it is what it is. I think that this game, I think we're going to see a relatively big game for Mahomes. 3 to 4
I,
touchdowns,
mhm.
three,
I,
280, 300 yards, 0 picks. I think I see that for tomorrow.
well, here's the thing, and people got to realize this too. Brady didn't really have great Super Bowls in the first three that he had. Like he
I
didn't
was
have the
going to say that
craziest
too.
numbers. He didn't have the crazy. No, like there was a shootout against the Panthers, granted, but he wasn't flawless. You know what I'm saying? And there was a point in time Brady's playoff stats weren't that flawless either, but they found a way to win. The goal is to win. The goal is not about how great are my numbers on the playoffs. The goal is to fucking win the game. Who cares about your numbers? Your numbers is the number. You're still gonna have great stats at the end of your career. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at Mahomes' playoff stats from last season. He didn't throw an interception. 72% passing completion. No Tyreek Hill. Right? 72 for 100. So the man was playing lights out. He didn't give up. The goal is not to give up the ball up. Give the ball up. His first Super Bowl, yes. I have nerves. I'm throwing picks. I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first go around. Yes, I'm going against Tom Brady. I'm nervous again. I don't want to lose to Brady again. You know what I'm saying? I got a stub toe. I'm running for my life. And then that just shows you his maturity, man. Like even this playoff run is duplicating last year. 4 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, 68% completion percentage, and who the fuck is he throwing it to besides Kelsey and Rashid Rice? Suddenly, MVS figured out how to catch a ball. And
You,
sometimes he
you,
has to,
you got Tony that they said, nah, you can stay home, man. We go without you, which is crazy. He
right.
was coming in the season, he's supposed to be the number one receiver.
Bruh, and that's the thing. And guess what? I, man, I've seen crazier things happen. I would not be shocked if him and Sky Moore just suddenly just show up to this game and want to and help them win. And that's just how it goes, bro. That's just how it goes.
Has he been officially ruled inactive for Sunday, Tony? Because
He
I see
was
some talk about
practicing.
they're saying that he should play. Let him play in this game. I'm like,
He was practicing this week, so there's a likelihood he'll be playing. I could see him playing. There's no way. I mean, I can't say there's no way. There's a chance that they might inactive, make him a healthy scratch just because of the game plan and whatnot. But it all depends on how the game plan, what kind of game plan they want. I mean, I know he's effective in the punt return game. Sky Moore is a good slot guy, so if they get some guys, some bodies healthy, they'll be all right.
yeah, and I'm sure he'll probably be on a short leash too if he in fact gets some snaps on Sunday. Oh
I mean,
man,
Andy Reid is not a Andy Reid is a phenomenal players coach. He will do anything to make sure he keeps his players. He's not like Belichick and he's not bench your ass in the Super Bowl. He ain't gonna be that type of guy. But if it comes down to it, he might maybe. But yeah, I feel bad that we're talking about the Chiefs so much, like they're the only ones playing in this game. But I think we deserve. I think the 49ers deserve some love in the
yeah,
conversation too.
absolutely. We can go to the 49ers. So you mentioned the key to victory is got to get McCaffrey the ball, right? You got to establish that run
Mm-hmm.
game early. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, Purdy's going to have to make some plays with his arm. Brandon Ayuk got a tough matchup against Snead. How do you
Yeah,
think that matchup will play out? You think Snead will win or Ayuk? That's gonna be a
bro,
tough one.
Snead, bro. I don't think, and those numbers are not exaggerated by Snead. I've watched a lot of football, obviously, but I've watched a lot of Chief games too. He is the real fucking deal, bro. Like it was until that Zay Flowers
Force fumble.
did he score? No, the forced fumble. That was actually he gave up a touchdown in that game to Zay Flowers.
Yep.
That was the first time he gave up a touchdown all season. We're talking about now we're at week 21, week 20, whatever, and he finally gave up a touchdown to a wide receiver. What? And then on top of that, his completion, your quarterback rating thrown towards him is in the 60s. So that means this quarterback's still challenging themselves to throw towards him, but they shut that shit down. So, but for Brandon Ayuk, it's going to be a tough matchup for him. I think he could win some of those matchups, but it wasn't like he was dominating as Detroit either. Like he got lucky on that deep ball.
Oh
Luckily,
God.
the safety was not in good position to bat that down. Um, so I can't really see Brandon Ayuk being the X factor, but I could be wrong. I remember watching last Super Bowl, not so Donovan,
Devonta Smith.
Devontae Smith, excuse me. He went off. He went off a few times
Yeah.
against that same defense. You know what I'm saying? Granted, the Eagles' offense was very, 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 very dominant. But I think the biggest key will be Debo and Kittle. They're probably the better two in the league after the catch. Um, Kittle has great matchups in his favor because I don't think those linebackers could keep up with him. They're going to force those safeties to match up with him as well. Debo is all over the field, so you're going to have to account for him wherever he goes. He looks to be healthy going into this game now. And then of course, like McCaffrey is a receiver. He's a great receiver too off the backfield. So there is a lot of matchup issues to go against the Chiefs. So that this might be their toughest opponent because there's more to account for than they did with Baltimore being a team that could be more on a one-sided ways sometimes because they're a running team, and then the Bills became much more of a running team, but they have only Stephon Diggs, and then you had the Dolphins playing in frigid weather, so they couldn't even get busy. They couldn't even start their car, bro. The starter went out. They couldn't even get up the field. You know what I'm saying? Only Tyreek Hill was warm, and he was cold. So they had some fortunate situations, but they still, it's going to be tough. The San Francisco 49ers really have to stick to the script. They cannot, whatever Kyle Shanahan has for the first 10 to 15 plays to start that game, make it good. Do not, like you said, they can't afford to start the game on like they did against Detroit. Hell no. What? No. If they start the game like they did against Detroit, bro, it's curtains. I'm gonna win my bread. I don't care. They could go home. They might as well just call their travel agent right now and say, yo, get me to Cancun, man. The game's over. At halftime. You feel
Yeah,
me?
real
Because
talk.
there's no way you're gonna what the Packers did and the Detroit Lions did. They cannot afford that to start the game at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that's the way they've been starting because they start off cold and they don't make adjustments. They haven't. It's just the other teams beat themselves and then they were fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, you did
So
talk about
they have to figure it out, man.
yeah, you did talk about Debo, who's like a Swiss Army knife. Chiefs defense left the blitz, and that's like the ultimate um counter to the blitz with Debo, right? So you got to get him going early too. Him and McCaffrey, Kittle. Yeah, I see Kittle having a decent game. I mean, and I don't think I'll play Travis Kelce and nothing like that, but he's gonna be solid in this game.
Right. Yeah, I could. Yeah, it's it. If I'm the Chiefs, here's a couple things. If I'm the Chiefs, I'll think I have the same mentality as Detroit had. I'm gonna force. I'm gonna load it up on McCaffrey, and I'm gonna force Brock Purdy to beat me. Right. I'm gonna go ahead and beat me. If you are beating me, then we'll make our adjustment. But I'm gonna force McCaffrey to not be the man. Now, if I'm the 49ers, I can't get complacent if I'm an aggressive team. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Force yourself to stay on that field. Keep Mahomes on the sideline. Kill the clock as much as you can. Because come on, man. We have to be honest. Purdy is still a young quarterback. When you can't, we will always remember seeing a lot of these young quarterbacks like Tom Brady when he got there, Aaron Rodgers when he got there, you name it. Any young quarterback you could think of in the last 20 years that went to the Super Bowl, their coordinators will do the best they can to ease them into the game. Run the ball. Defense plays a huge part. Defense might even give you the lead. And all you got to do is Cam Newton's very favorite word to use is manage the game. The goal is to manage the game in these playoffs. Why do you want to do more than that? Maybe if Cam Newton was a game manager, maybe Carolina wins. I'm taking a jab at him for no reason, but you know what I mean? Like, you got to manage the game. That's all. That's the whole point of being a quarterback. You can't being a quarterback. You have to be able to be off script and manage your team's offense, or else you're replaceable. So I think Purdy's been doing a great job since he started last year to managing these games. Whether you want to consider him system quarterback, which I think all quarterbacks are to a certain extent, or do you want to consider him a one-trick pony or two-trick pony or whatever, and he may not have a long career? That's your prerogative. He may have a long career just because he knew how hard it was for him to get through to this part, and if he sticks with Kyle Shanahan for the rest of his career, he might be good. But it's hard to tell because this Super Bowl may change a lot for a lot of these players and for Kyle Shanahan himself. Because I think that seat's going to get lukewarm suddenly.
I don't know about that. Lukewarm with Kyle Shanahan in San Fran.
I'm just saying.
I don't
Listen,
know.
we saw Jim Harbaugh go to a Super Bowl, have winning records for years, and suddenly they were like, "Oh, we can't do this no more. We're gonna have to let you go, my man. I know you won a lot of games for us. You brought us to NFC championships and all that. We're good." And maybe John Lynch is more caring than the previous, GM, but sometimes like we've seen Andy Reid. Andy Reid was going to consecutive NFC championships and a Super Bowl with the Eagles, and the Eagles had to let him go. I mean, they had a bad season, but that's all it takes is one bad season. You're out of here.
So are you saying that if the 49ers were to lose the Super Bowl, that there could possibly be internal discussions with John Lynch and co. that they should probably move on from Shanahan and need to upgrade at the quarterback position, which in fact would make it harder to them to retain all those skill players?
It wouldn't be an immediate change in the coaching. The coaching seat will just get warm. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So now the expectation is going to get, you already set your expectation with going to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. Now the expectation is now we have the team. We may have Trent Williams for another year. We have some guys on some, we're going to lose Ayuk, possibly. Christian McCaffrey is still in his prime, but we can't bet on that because he's a running back. Anything could happen.
Yep.
You got some guys coming back from injury. You name it. There's a bunch of situations there that is creating a situation where the window can possibly start closing. So when that window starts closing, you don't recoup some of these guys, or you don't get, it's an attractive location to go to because people like the system, right? They love the Shanahan, system, and they love how the defense plays. If you can't recapture the dream that they have, you have to make some harsh decisions, obviously. But like I said, the whole Purdy, like if they can't win this and Purdy is not the answer, they're gonna look at Kirk Cousins. They're gonna look at trading for Justin Fields. They're gonna look at all these scenarios. There's too many scenarios this year in the offseason for quarterbacks, including the draft. You can't count the Niners out whatsoever on what they decide to do. So this is a very big Super Bowl for both Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy, because this tells us right then and there that they're going to be here for another 5 years at least.
Okay, that's fair. You said it was to see we get lukewarm. Wouldn't necessarily be hot, but lukewarm.
Lukewarm. It's just because of the expectations, bro. It's like it happened to everybody, man. Like you see all the coaches that have lost Super Bowls and even lost multiple Super Bowls, minus Bill Belichick, because he went to 10 of those, or was it 10 of those? Yeah, nine or 8. I can't remember. It was 8 or 9. Some of them just couldn't. They didn't survive, because it's the dream was over. They were like, you sold us a dream and now it's over. Like, what's up? So you have to expect that. You have to, like, and I'm not trying to make it, I'm not trying to spin a rumor mill with that, but it's just like, if you think about it deeply, like, how much often do you have to be successful for and not make it over the hump? Something has to give. It's not going to be other than you change the quarterback millions of times. So what else is going on? What can we do? What can we do?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you try to think you can do the same thing and get different results, then it's kind of like a form of insanity. So in that sense, yeah, you got to change things up if you want to like capture the championship, and you haven't been able to do that. Now you did mention San Fran, and they key to winning the Super Bowl is keep Pat Mahomes off the field, which is a lot easier said than done. But I think realistically, that's the only way I can see them winning this game if they're able to dominate time of possession, which means McCaffrey, Debo are gonna have to do damage on the ground, or the fullback to Usek. Then that can happen. Then it can be then it can get a little difficult, I think, for tight for Kansas City. But I just don't know with that defense. I can see them, being able to get some timely stops and getting the ball back in Pat's hands and let him go to work with the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I said that last year. I thought what happened with the Chiefs last year. I thought a lot of their young players stepped up when it mattered in the playoffs. And they're playmakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they know how to get that blood into the pool. You know what I'm saying? They know how to create a turn. Like people just keep they forget. Like you watch that Baltimore game. It was not just what they did. The offense didn't do shit. The defense created turnovers. They forced a fumble. You know what I'm saying on Lamar. They forced Lamar to throw triple coverage.
Terrible pass.
They had you know what I'm saying? Right. It was a terrible pass, but he was panicking because he wanted to be a true passer in that moment, which he is. I think he is a true passer, but it's not in that style. You know what I'm saying? They weren't running the ball. So now instead of the linebackers taking a step forward, they take a step back. They're already in position if they're playing zone. Or if they're playing man, they already know that running back's going out for a pass. I'm good. Mark Andrews, I'm on his hip. I'm on his hip. Odell, strap him up. Lock him down. You know what I'm saying? Zay, I know Zay's gonna get off. Whatever. Let's do our part. Oh, Ladarius Sneed got beat. He got taunted. Next play, he stayed. That man stayed so solid, bro, and he created a fucking fumble. A quarterback. He came from the other side of the field and created the fumble, bro. They're just locked in, bro. Like you can't take that. You cannot discredit that defense whatsoever. Now they could prove us all wrong tomorrow and just go and completely lay an egg and just give up 40 points. Who knows? But from what I've seen, even like Steph Diggs, what did he do? Nothing. I didn't see no Steph Diggs. They were complaining about Josh Allen overthrowing him. He was getting locked.
Like, and now his future in Buffalo is in question.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gotten too much for a lot of teams when they're seeing that the Chiefs actually have a defense. And Pat Mahomes he does what he needs to do to win games. So it's like, at the end of the day, man, I don't know if we're going to see a defensive game. I could see that more than anything, too, to be fair. But the better defense is definitely in Kansas City right now.
Oh, definitely. I mean, going into the season, we all thought the Niners had the best defense in the league, but they
Mm-hmm.
didn't look like that towards the end of the season, as well as in these playoffs so far. I think Kansas City is clearly the better defense right now, which is why I'm kind of shocked that they weren't favored, that they're not favored to win this game. It's a little weird. I mean, have you guys not watched San Fran in recent weeks? They don't look the same. Something's wrong with their defense, and I don't see that being fixed in a 2-week span.
Yo, E, and that's what I'm talking about. You're putting fuel in that man's fire, bro. Mahomes is probably watching that shit like, we're still underdogs? Really? The defending champions are underdogs? That's a slap in my face. All right, cool. I'm waking up in the morning. I'm gonna have a nice breakfast, and I'm just thinking about I'm choosing violence the rest of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something you don't do to even Tom Brady. You know he's a psycho. He'll wake up and like they had the nerve to really look at me and say I'm an underdog today. You know what I'm saying? Like You don't do that. He's solidified. Listen, man, they're solidified. It's not the 49ers' fault. You know what I'm saying? The Niners clearly have a lot of people believe that they're good enough to be world beaters, and hey, we'll see.
Yeah, we shall see.
Not their fault.
I can't wait, man. Well, I think right now we can get into our predictions. What do you got for the score and the team is going to win?
I got the Chiefs. I think they're going to duplicate the score from 4 years ago, 31-20.
Wow.
I got the Chiefs 31-20. It's going to be a close game, though. It's going to be a close game again. But I think they're gonna do what they did to Buffalo. They're gonna, lullaby them a little bit for the 3 quarters. Fourth quarter comes. Mahomes has a solid drive, gets the lead. Defense finds a way to get the ball back, to kick a field goal or whatever. Game over.
Yeah, man.
Calling the game right there.
I mean, I know that Mahomes and the Chiefs, the narrative has been that the receivers can't come through, and yet they're here in another Super Bowl. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not a believer in San Fran's rush defense. It's been atrocious the last 2 weeks, and I think that's going to open up the game for the passing game for Travis Kelce. Rashee Rice has came up to be a solid number 1 receiver right now. I got the Chiefs 27-17, Mahomes Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, that's how I see it playing out, man. I just can't see a world where they lose to the Niners team the way the Niners look so far. The Niners team that has virtually gotten outplayed in most of the games in the playoffs so far, but I found a way to win. And a lot of people aren't talking about this. This is essentially a home game for the Chiefs. They're playing at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas,
They've been there
where
before.
they play out once a year.
They win there all the time.
Division.
They haven't lost there yet.
And I believe I saw that while Mahomes is undefeated at that stadium, I believe undefeated in domes in his career. That's crazy.
And also Kelce's on the tear right now. So I know you calling the pick. I should have gave my prediction for MVP. I got Kelce win MVP. I think he's gonna break whatever tight end record for receiving yards, and he's gonna get at least 2 touchdowns or close to 2 touchdowns. I think he's trying to make a statement, bro. He's so pissed at everybody's everybody in his business, and that's partly his fault because he's a celebrity and he's with a celebrity, but it's really not his fault because it's not the first time or last time we've seen celebrities dating athletes. Like, we're hearing right now that there's a possible Odell and Kim situation. We're gonna be starting to hear some shit like that soon. Giselle and Brady. We've seen that many a times. You know what I'm saying? Tristan Thompson was dating Chloe, so there was a Kardashian at every Braun game. People were having rumors about Beyonce and Rihanna at Braun games. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always something. Celebrities are always at games. And just now, because Taylor's the sweetheart of America, everybody's on their back and they love it, but it's like you chose to be exposed to that and be bothered. Nobody told you to. It's just going to be in your face regardless. But nonetheless, I think he's trying to prove a point that as much as y'all want to make me to be this annoying football player who's dating this girl, I'm actually a fucking great Hall of Fame tight end. And he's been proving it the last 2 weeks. And I think he's going to prove it again in the Super Bowl.
Not a bad choice with Super Bowl MVP. I just think that because that position is dependent on the quarterback, if he gets like 2 touchdowns and gets like 120 yards, right? I mean, what's Pat Mahomes? That's going to be like. I honestly see a world where I could see Pacheco winning it over Kelce if Mahomes wasn't getting it, just because
it's
of
very
the
possible.
Dominance of the run game and the lack of the rush defense that San Fran has put forth over these playoffs. So I can see a world where Pacheco can win it, but it's going to be interesting. But I just picked Mahomes because like the regular season MVP, it's a QB award. It feels like.
Yeah, you have to, unless there's like Ladarius Sneed pick 6 to seal the win, or Chris Jones breaking the sack record, or not even Chris Jones, but also Nick Bosa breaking the sack record if the San Francisco win, or maybe like a Fred Warner could win it with a pick 6, or Debo getting a rushing and passing touchdown and getting the reception record. or McCaffrey going for 3 touchdowns and breaking the running back record. Like there's a lot of possibilities, but like you mentioned, it really comes down to the quarterback at the end of the day. The quarterback's going to be the one that gets the shine because they touch the ball the most, obviously. So yeah, we will more than likely see either Mahomes or Purdy win that MVP. If Purdy wins that MVP, man, America's gonna lose their mind. He's gonna be on
all the talk shows in the morning are going to be annoying.
Oh Lord, the talk shows in the morning. He's gonna be on Jimmy Kimmel by the morning too. He will be on. Everybody's gonna have to make an apology letter to this kid. It's gonna be bananas. But again, I'm gonna stick to my pick. It's gonna be the Chiefs, 31-20. They're gonna cover. The spread will be covered. The points will be covered if you're betting. I think it's going to be an exciting game, at least for the first 3.5 quarters, and then they're going to pull away, and that's it.
I mean, I see it more like more reminiscent of the Chiefs Baltimore Ravens game. Not really exciting, good game, but from a casual fan standpoint, they probably didn't find that game exciting just because of the defense that was being played and the low scoring content that it was. I kind of lean towards it looking like that. But if it does, I'll love it.
Yeah, it's playoff. It's playoff football, man.
Exactly.
You want your defense to step up when it matters, because without your defense, how the hell are you getting the ball back to your quarterback? People love shootouts so much. I remember the Eagles Patriot game. People love that. That was amazing. But you think Tom Brady loved it? No, he would rather had won that game and not have to put up 40 or 30 plus. You know what I'm saying? The easiest wins are the ones when you have the utmost faith in your special teams. People keep forgetting these things. Special teams is so big in the Super Bowl. Every Super Bowl has had a big time special team play, whether it be the kicker, Tooney last year with his punt return record that he did. Devin Hester when he returned the kickoff return.
Onside kick by the Saints. It gets the Colts.
Kick by right. Like there's been
changed the whole game.
Like, Adam Vinatieri has with his clutch, field goals to win Super Bowls. Special teams is a big part. People are forgetting about this because they're so, they're so enamored by the offense because of the quarterback. But without that's the thing about football, man. You got three different units playing for one team, aiming for one goal, and it's that's what makes football so amazing, is that it could all change due to one of those units fucking up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how it goes down.
Exactly, man. It's the ultimate team sport. Much as we want to give praise to the quarterbacks, like certain players, it's really a collective effort on that field.
Exactly.
Well, I guess we got enough information for here. We can wrap it up. You got any plans for the game? You gonna go watch it anywhere or stay home?
Yeah, gonna go to a watch party.
Oh, nice.
Enjoy the vibes. You know what I'm saying? But should be a good time. I'll definitely be. I encourage everybody, if you got an extra few bucks, go ahead and bet on get your bets in. Have fun, man. It's nothing wrong with having a little bit of fun. You got $20. Just bet on your favorite, what you think makes sense. Make a good, cool bet, something safe. If you haven't bet on any of those sports books, I ain't getting sponsored by any of them just yet. But if I was, I would tell you, FanDuel and DraftKings, they got some great deals where you could just bet $5 and they spot you 200. So you could spend that 200 the whole night and feel guilt-free. And if you win and you're up, hey, you could go to work on Monday and feel good about yourself. No matter who won or lost, you could feel great. That's all I gotta say. Man. That's my free plug to them motherfuckers right there.
Damn, man, free advertisement. That's crazy. Now I'm joking. Have you done any betting this season?
Come on, man.
No, I'm asking you because I have never. I don't think I've seen a lot of people stress out on my timeline. I don't think I've seen you stress out, so that's why I'm asking.
I don't stress out because I understand that I do it to myself. Like I made some bets tonight, NBA, but I understand what I'm because the thing is I don't bet like $100 or anything like that. Like people be betting like their whole life savings. Like I bet a little bit here and there, like little drink, whatever. But I did make some bets on this in this game. Actually, the Chiefs won me some money against Baltimore. So who am I to complain?
Oh man, maybe next year I'll partake in the betting. I'm just like, you know what? I see too many people stressed out, man. I don't need that. Life's already as hard as it is right now. So why put myself through
Like,
it?
I hear you. I hear you. Hey,
Man.
but it doesn't hurt to drop $5, bro. I know how to drive. I know how to drop $5 right now once I leave my apartment. Right now, I know how to drop $5 right now. So you might as well, if you want to come up a little quick with some quick money, like double, like triple your money, quadruple your money, you can, and then feel good about yourself. But just don't get crazy. That's what people do
Right.
when they go gambling and shit. They win some money. They're like, you know what? Feeling lucky. Let me play that. Let me play that winnings. Motherfucker, you better put 20 back in your pocket and play that five again. like that's the problem people make. So that's why it can be kind of some for some it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you have a addictive personality, definitely don't do it. If you're having gambling issues, there's a hotline, so don't put yourself in a bad situation.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so be careful with that. But if it's all in fun, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, a lot people be wilding like they're in Vegas. Yo, speaking of Vegas,
Oh man,
I should be out there right now,
I
man.
couldn't.
I should
I
be out
could
there.
not imagine, bro. Oh my, yo, we definitely fumbled. And I told myself one day I'm gonna be at Radio Row, bro.
I saw
One
that.
day we're gonna be at Radio Row,
Oh,
and we have to make it happen, bro.
listen, one
If
day,
not, if we're not, we at least have to be there and just show ourselves. You feel me?
no, one day I will be doing a podcast live from the Super Bowl, like whatever city
Have
it's
to.
in. It's gonna happen one day.
It has.
But
It
yo,
has to happen
I
because
wanted to
man,
go to Vegas for the Super Bowl. Me and my people was talking. Some of the people like, yo, we gotta go. Tickets was mad cheap, like around like June, July. When I looked like around like October, it was like 800, the cheapest ticket to get out there, like just to get out there. I'm like, yeah, I'll pass.
oh, like a
A
flight.
flight, bro. Yes. And that was with a
Oh,
crazy and that was with a crazy
and you
layover. Like straight there, it was
oh
like a band,
no.
like 1100.
And them Vegas flights usually are pretty reasonable too in price.
Exactly. They wanted mad bread to get out there.
So that
But
means those tellies are probably up 3-4 times the price too.
you got to book early. Next year it's in New Orleans. I'm out there. I'm going. I'm booking
Ooh,
early, like probably like June, July.
I'm,
Getting the flight, getting the room. I'm
listen,
out.
I already read an article that NFL executive is choosing the Packers to win it all. So listen, if it happens, I'm there 100%. I might have to win a big bet so I can pay for that ticket.
But we can't go to the game because that's OD expensive. I heard the cheapest ticket's like 8K.
OD, bro. That's crazy. And
Hey,
there's people who actually got that bread.
yeah. I mean, at that point, you're just pricing out the casual fan, the diehard fan, the hard worker in this country, the blue collar, the hard worker, everyday American. You're pricing them out. It's essentially a corporate event. Somebody on Twitter
It
posted
is.
like did a screenshot of scrolling through the prices of all the Super Bowls since like the 80s, whatever, till now, and you see how much it went up. It's like, damn, man, dudes really got priced out. Like
Seriously,
in the
like
90s, like in the 90s, the average person could afford it. I think the average person in
mhm.
like 95, 96 like what's a stack? It's affordable.
That's
It's not
understandable. That makes
egregious.
a lot of sense. Yeah, it's understandable. It's the Super Bowl, and I know there's people who've been to multiple Super Bowls, and I know there's people who go to every Super Bowl. So I could only imagine what kind of money how they feel about how the prices have been, because that's some serious cash, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't gonna lie, there's when the Patriots were going, there was people faithfully going to the Patriots Super Bowls, like
Oh, I imagine.
a lot, a lot. So that people got the money, man. It's just
Hey, if you got
are
it,
you
I am mad
if
at
you
you.
got it, you got it. They know they like you said, it's geared towards a certain clientele, and some fan bases are deep. They will spend every bottom dollar on their team, and I one day, hopefully, if God's willing, I could be one of those fans. But right now, I ain't got it.
Word. Save it, man. I'm trying to work for it. That's why I'm doing everything I'm doing right now, man. Trying to get there one day.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah. So
Exactly,
I'm
bro.
gonna stay low tomorrow. I'm gonna stay at the crib, order some food, watch the game,
Nothing wrong with that.
have
That's
some
how.
brews, kick
Listen,
back.
there's no. If it's the food, most food, like I just told my coworker that today. I was like, think about it, how you would spend your New Year's, right?
Mhm.
Nobody. If you're a smart person, you don't go out on New Year's.
No,
You stay in the crib, or you go to a watch party, or a location that's having the party. Do the same thing with the Super Bowl. You don't unless you're going to like a casino where there's like a bunch of TVs and you're betting and all that. Cool, but aside from that, what's the excitement of being at a restaurant or a bar and stuff like with a bunch of people and then you're spending a tab on shit? Like, no. Grab yourself a few brews, get you some wings, buffalo dip, whatever. Enjoy the game.
yes sir, man. Well, I appreciate you for coming on this pod, man. If you need me on your pod,
Man, thank you.
going forward, and if NBA is about to ramp up now that football's essentially over, so we got the All-Star
Oh yeah,
weekend.
yeah. We definitely gonna do some NBA for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I can have you on this pod, talk a little bit too, hoops if you want or whatever. I can go on your pod. I'm with it.
Yeah, you already know, my guy. Appreciate you for having me on. We'll see what the outcome of this game goes, and we might end up talking more about it afterwards.
But sir, man, take care. Have a good night, man. And enjoy the game too.
Absolutely. Same to you, Brody.
Sir.